when Piercy is done with his point, I want to hear Sly, and then I want to hear Adric. Adric hasn't spoken yet.
I jumped in here because Pete was talking about reflections on water and things of that nature. And how at a certain angle, of looking at water, things do reflect up. Yes, that's obviously true. Water is a reflective, makes a reflective surface. However, if I may present here, hold on a second here. Okay, so just as a quick question to Pete. Pete, do you agree with the information that I provided on this slide so many years ago? If you had a light post sticking up from that mirror as you are looking at it, from the angle of as if you were looking out over the surface of that mirror, the light post would extend upwards just as far as its reflection would extend downwards per your angle of view, right?
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
As you're walking along a river and there's a lamppost of a certain height in the river, across the water, you can see that lamppost almost stretching exactly nearly to your feet. So it's a much bigger expression than the original height of the lamppost.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about the water. I'm talking about off a mirror.
Water's mirror. We're talking about the mirrored water under these.
No, because because you have a textured surface to water. Small waves and stuff like that.
The small waves will compress over distance. The further we're looking out, we can see, let's say, 20 miles, right? To our vision, where the horizon seems to be, a band, maybe a millimeter to our vision, might encompass 2 miles of distance.
Yeah, jump in 5 seconds. Sly, my apologize. Sly, my apologize.
Sure.
I mean, I know Cynical Skeptic had a point on this topic too. Fisher, would you want to give the floor to Cynical for a minute and get a little combo with Sly about this? Maybe, maybe you can get to an agreement, and maybe he can explain it better than you in some sense.
Okay. Cynical Skeptic is welcome to come in, so I'll go on mute for a minute.
Yeah. I just want to explain something to Sly. Sly, if you have a mirror, let's say instead of a lake floor, lake water, you have an actual perfect mirror. You're looking at a post that is in the middle of the lake. From the point of view, you're on top of the mirror, 6 feet up. When you're looking at the mirror, this is just basic perspective. The reflection in the mirror is shorter than the post on top of the mirror making the reflection. Just because you're that much further away from it, below your point of view. It's just simple perspective. I don't know what you're trying to say with this example, but it's just perfect.
So you're saying,
perspective.
let me just rehash what you just said to me. I just want to be 100% clear that I understood you right, okay?
Yep.
Because I'm having like spotty audio. It has to do with my equipment, not you guys. So what you're saying is if we had, let's say, a lake-sized mirror, okay?
Yep.
I mean, just hypothetically. If we had a lake-sized mirror and that mirror is perfectly flat.
Yes.
Okay, as in no texture of waves or anything like that. And you put a post out on that mirror, and the post extending upwards from the mirror, let's say 6 feet. Okay, you're saying that, or in this particular case, it would be about 2 degrees field of view, 3 degrees field of view, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the reflection of it below on a perfectly flat mirror, the reflection of it below would not be the same length?
No, it will be slightly short. You can actually draw it on a 3D program, because the one in the reflection, you're looking at it from 6 feet above the surface of the mirror.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. Solid.
I would agree with that.
So I don't know what the point you're trying to make with this example, but it's a physicality that the reflection in the mirror will be slightly shorter, just because you're looking at it from 6 feet up. If for some reason magically you are at the edge of the glass looking at a post going up and one going down from the mirror, let's say it's not at this time it's not a reflection, it's another post, yes, they will both be identical. But because you're looking at the one at the bottom as a reflection of the top one, you're looking at it 6 feet, let's say it's 12 feet post, and you're 6 feet high, you're looking at it smack in the middle of that post. So your perspective angle to that post is a lot larger than the one seen at the reflection, where the base of that post at the reflection is already 6 feet lower than you. That's my point.
Can I just show you something, Pete?
happens. So what we've got here is we've got a water layer and something reflecting, and I'm using ray tracing to do this. Now this is a very calm water layer, so therefore we get very defined reflections, as in they're fairly uniform. I can tell what's reflecting. Now, you know, to some extent, Cynical Skeptic was correct when things look a little bit shorter, because, you know, the ray from the bottom of that reflection is actually taking a longer path to kind of get to my eye, because it's bouncing up and doing so. But it's so insignificant, you can actually ignore it. It's only the effect gets greater the closer we would get to this red object. But what I'm going to show you here is quite simple to understand.
Stingray, before you continue, I thought it was you that hit me up on the super chat, but it was Stringer News one. Stringer News hit me up with $5 with a awesome sticker. Thank you, Stringer News. I appreciate that, man. Go ahead, Stinger.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this like the ocean. I'm going to make the surface a little bit more turbulent. Now, there's a very important thing that happens when I do this. Look what happens to that reflection. It's getting worse. Now, the further we get away from this and the harsher the water surface, the less we will see a reflection, because the reflecting angle is now, the probability of it hitting our eye gets worse the more acute and the more turbulent the water surface is. So now if we make a little bit more turbulent water surface and we start getting more acute, you can start to see now it's getting a lot worse. It is not a perfect mirror. And now let's make it like an actual water surface. And you can start to see that pretty soon I'm going to end up with no reflection of it whatsoever. This is how reflections work over water. There is no perfect mirroring water layer with water. Cheers.
First of all, sorry for ducking out before, but my router crashed on me. It's just I was getting the warning signs and I had to restart my router. That's why I got dropped off. But nevertheless, the discussion that I was going into about reflections with Pete and the hold on a second here. Present entire screen. This
No, Sly.
yes. Okay, as soon as it goes. All right, now I while my router was restarting, I just went and made this photo in my bathroom. Okay, with my cell phone camera, and I stuck two Legos to my mirror, to my bathroom mirror. Now, the size of them, with the exception of the fact that it kind of blurs out because there's like a little bit of in reflection between the glass and the reflective material on the back that just happens as you get narrower to it. They're generally the same size, okay? As in the same distance from the surface here, same distance from the surface here. That was the point that I was getting to with that. Now, the problem runs into when, you know, I mean, I totally agree that once you get to a certain angle, then refraction and mirages, that's where those things exist. Once you get to a shallow enough angle. However, there's a problem with that when you look at sunsets. There was a while back when I did the Canigoo thing where Jeranism was saying it was impossible and screwing up all his measurements and all that other stuff. But I had hinted to something at the end of it, and it was a video that I was actually going to do, but I didn't end up doing it. And that is, these are the images that I had at the very end of that. And these are all the Canigoo images of being able to see the mountain peaks from that observation point across that portion of the Mediterranean. Now, the problem is that if this is true, and if this is true across a plane, because my mirror is a plane, of course, it's not, you know, curved or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Then where is the reflection? This is a question towards flat earthers. Where is the reflection on the water in all of these sunsets? Whereas higher, the reflection is there on the water. That was my question that I was drilling down to. And I would welcome to hear any explanation of why it is that the sun still being visible and still producing light, is not reflecting on the water. The point that I'm trying to make to you, and this is a point that you are not accepting and you're actually talking around it, is that number one, there's no such thing as a local versus distant mirror effect. Mirror effect is mirror effect, period. Okay? But the reason why you are not seeing the water reflecting the sun is because at that angle of the water, which would have to actually be able to, from each point that it's reflecting, actually see the sun, okay, if you were at each one of those points, is not seeing the sun. Okay? And the reason why it's not seeing the sun has to do with atmospheric refraction. Okay? All of these points right here, all of these photos, the ones that you're not seeing the reflection of the water, is because of the fact that you do not, at any point where these guys are standing taking these photographs, there is not a point where they look down at the water and then get a reflective angle to the sun. The reason why they don't get that is because of atmospheric refraction. This has to do with the fact that the sun is actually in all of these pictures physically below the horizon, just not visibly due to the approximately half a degree of atmospheric refraction showing the sun. The reason why you are not seeing a reflection of water on the surface of the ocean in all of these pictures, with the exception of this one, is because the sun is higher. Okay, which means that the rotation angle of the Earth in association with the sun is actually making it possible for you to look at the water, and then a reflection angle could be created to the light source. It cannot be created to this light source because of the fact that it's not seeing it down at the water level. The reason why it's not seeing it down at the water level is because it is below the horizon, and the only reason why you're seeing the sun is because of the fact of the very small amount, regardless of how it looks in here, the very small amount of atmospheric refraction, which is making it possible to see the sun in the first place.
The line towards the bottom of the screen, which was a millimeter thick, and a line towards just underside the horizon here would be absolutely different lengths. The one towards the horizon might encompass 20 miles, where the one towards the bottom of the screen might encompass just 1 mile. You understand that?
The length of the line is the length of the line. Whether
and that's perfect. That's what I mean. This mirror acts like a local mirror, even though it can be many miles in expanse, right? The amount of details we know are, let's say, a mile high.
Can I say something just quite honestly to you?
Perfect.
You're talking completely out your ass.
It's perfect.
Okay? The reason why is because of the fact that there should be at least this much reflection. Given if you want to say this is the horizon, there should be this much reflection, albeit diffused a little bit by the texture of the water. There should be at least this much reflection on the water.
No, because water
until you can demonstrate to me otherwise, I'm not going to listen to you.
Water.
Can I have a minute to destroy the stupidity? Can I have a minute?
Go for it.
All right. Sly, a quick search on Google Images will show hundreds and hundreds of images of the sun touching the water with the reflection going to your feet. All right?
Really?
Yes. I just did a quick search before I came here on the call. Yes, touching the water. The reason why you can't see that reflection has to do with whatever properties of the air or the water at the time, just like you see reflections on the road sometimes, and sometimes you don't.
No, you're going wrong.
Listen to this. If that water was an actual mirror, you will see the sun regardless of the fact that it was, like you're saying, over the horizon. If it's visually there, it should visually reflect. If it was a mirror.
Why can we see the reflection of the clouds in the water if it's not acting with some mirror-like properties, but we can't see the sun? That I find a bit weird. But yeah.
Well, the other thing is that picture is exposed.
I'm looking at the pictures
for the sun.
I'm looking at pictures here. Everyone that has the sun at or below the or partitioned by the horizon, I'm not seeing what you're saying, buddy.
I see plenty right there, top right corner.
Wait, hey,
this?
Sly?
That's
Sly.
art, dude.
Sly, one thing I've noticed is flat earthers have to develop word salad to explain.
Yeah, one second. full screen, where choose one picture of those that you said, Cynical, and let's take a look.
Well, he just
Click
said
on
top
one.
right. That's this. This is art.
That's art. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like
That's
painting.
computer-generated art. Nice and all that, but not relevant.
Not
Well,
reality.
let me finish up. The other thing is that picture of Cynical is actually zoomed in really close. You're not seeing the shoreline, and you're only zoomed in, and it's exposed for the sun. There is plenty of reflection actually in that picture. If you look at the bottom, the glow, there is plenty of reflection of the sun in the water. It's
Which is
just
coming
not.
off the clouds above.
This
which
is
you
ridiculous. That's
see
absolutely.
if the sun was below the horizon.
What you just said is that reflection off water dims the light.
No, take that stone that you pasted in, take it out. There's plenty of reflection there. It's just not exposed as bright as the sun is.
So then this whoops, whoop, my bad. Hold on. Dun. Hold on. So then the guy who took this picture was really good with the camera to get the exposure right of reflecting light off of water.
No, the only reason why you're seeing those is because of the waves are facing away from you, and it's actually getting an angle to the sun at that elevation.
It got nothing to do with the waves. What the hell are you on about?
So these photos were all perfectly taken with the waves facing away.
If in that picture in the center, if the sun was touching the horizon, you still will see it.
Yeah, let's actually do a final thoughts roundup, and let's get out of here. Let me go down alphabetical order while one person speaks. Please, nobody interrupts. Do anybody have to get out of here now, or you can give your final thoughts first, or you want to wait your turn alphabetical?
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead, Sly. Let's get out of here.
Anybody who is looking to remove those unwanted blemishes and is unhappy with their mirror, just make sure you use a distant mirror.
You want to comment on the image I have up here?
Thank you very much, Sly. I appreciate it, man. Welcome anytime, brother. Do you want to give your final thoughts now, Piche, that you're presenting? Because I like to see the icons of the video.
Yeah, okay. Everyone's running away and making a laugh and a joke. How long do I got, Jose? Now I have to incorporate
a minute. Final
this
thoughts.
stuff.
1 minute is final thoughts. Yeah.
All right, now that I have to incorporate this stuff that I already dealt with in 2016, looking over an extended span of water beyond a certain point here, the water compresses, the distance compresses, and when I say a local mirror, the distance from this apparent horizon to this red real mirror line might be many, many miles, right? So this reflection is not an accurate reflection of distance. That's all I meant by that. In terms of my final thoughts, absolute waste of time talking to anyone, not just your hangout here, Ranty's, Nathan Oakley's. Everyone has their fixed agenda and there's no one shifting from it. Both sides are put in place to control the argument, and the Bible literalists will lead you home. The war is here, the science versus religion. This has been said. You had better fucking start paying attention both to yourselves and to the quicker story it plays. So cheers. 422-20 of Dodo out, Aristarchus out.
Thank you very much, Piche. I appreciate it, man. You made it through the end of the show. Boom. Cynical, Skeptic, final thoughts.
A couple of things. I don't know if it is the name Sly or what, but I have a little rough spot for this guy because I don't know if it sounds like slimy or something. But anyways, I'm either gonna give him an option of giving me an email to send him a bunch of photos that I've taken personally of the sun touching the water and being reflected to your feet. Or I'll make a video with some sad music and add all the pictures to that, and I'll tag him on it. Either one of the two.
So as promised, here's my explanation and the images that I promised. The images will be at the end. I don't want to bore anybody who doesn't want to watch those, but I just wanted to add a little bit of explanation to what Stingray presented, which was a very nice real what really happens when you're looking at reflections over the oceans, those choppy waters. Both Sly and I missed that presentation because Sly left the hangout because he had to reboot his internet. I didn't see a point of staying around since I was debating him on that topic, so I left, and by the time we both came back we had actually missed that presentation, so that's why we didn't make reference to that when we came back and we were talking about it. It's hard to explain in words what I was trying to say about the waves and how when you're looking at waves, sort of looking down at them, you're kind of looking behind that parabolic mirror that they create, and therefore you can actually see reflections way beyond even low on the horizon. But as you're looking away and you're looking on very shallow angles, now here, this is where this come handy, this graphic that I have here. When you're looking at waves and you're looking down at them, you're looking behind that wall that creates a parabolic mirror, that so you can see reflections straight out into the horizon or very close to the horizon. The more you have to raise your eyesight, the more straight up you're starting to see reflections. As you go all the way out to the horizon, and this is not even that far, you're looking sort of almost 45 degrees up, and eventually you're going to be looking up, or you're not going to be able to see any reflections. So when you see reflections on the ocean, that people say, oh, but you're seeing the sky be reflected. Yes, but it might be the sky that is right above you or even behind you, not the sky that is on the horizon or near the horizon. On the other hand, if the ocean is very calm and mirror-like, which doesn't happen often, but it happens sometimes on lakes, and I have some pictures to follow up with some of those examples, when the water acts more like a mirror because it's very calm, and you're looking, it's the opposite. You're looking straight down, you're looking at reflections of the sky right over you. The further out you look into the horizon, the shallower your reflection is, and therefore you can see the sun very low on the horizon, and you can get a very strong reflection of the sun near the horizon, but yet not see the sun go all the way down to your feet. So that usually will happen when you have choppy seas. So let me open up now that folder where I have some images here that I want to show. And as promised here, this is an image here of the sun very low on the horizon, and yet you see the reflection go all the way down to the shore and even being reflected on the wet sand. Next image. Again, the sun is getting cut off not by the horizon, but mountains similar to the Canigou, and yet you see reflections going all the way down to the bottom of the picture. What happened in the Canigou also could be that you might have had reflection going all the way down to the shore, but it's actually a zoomed in image of the area where the sun and the ocean, you're looking at that stuff on a very, very shallow angle. So even slightly choppy seas will not allow you to have a reflection of the sun. Again here, this is a mirror-like effect of water. So water is very still, very calm, and you see a very strong reflection of the sun just on the horizon, but nothing coming down to your feet. The sun is very low on the horizon, it's getting reflected. That's going against to what Sly was saying. Sun is very low on the horizon in this other picture. The water is creating a reflection all the way down to the shore. And again, and this one, it's the opposite of what Sly was saying, that the sun is sort of high on the horizon, not touching the horizon, and yet no reflection. But I can only guess that this is actually zoomed in image similar to the Canigou. All those choppy waves, you're looking at them on a very, very shallow angle. You're not seeing the whole picture here, and there is no reflection. But according to his theory or his hypothesis, you should be able to see a reflection on the ocean in this one. The fact that he's saying that you're seeing the sun, but it's not really there, it's just being loomed up by refraction, is such an insanity. If something is there, visually there, and the ocean or the water is actually acting as a mirror, whether the sun is there because it's being loomed up or is physically there, you should be able to see the reflection. You should be able to see the reflection regardless. It's there, it's visually there, who cares? Again here, another picture where the sun is near the horizon. Very little reflection in the background near the horizon because of that angle of incidence is very shallow, but yet you see the reflection on the waves in front of you, down to the shore, and even on the wet sand. because the sun is going away from you at that angle that allows you to see the sun low on the horizon. Look at that. And again, a photo that actually shows what he says we're supposed to be seeing. We're supposed to be seeing tons of reflection on the ocean, but because the sun is high on the sky. But again, the ocean is very choppy and you're looking at a very shallow angle, so there is no reflection on the water at all, only the sand. And again, another photo. Sun is very low on the horizon, getting chopped up by the horizon, yet there is a reflection going all the way down to the bottom of the photo. Another one. Another one. It is overexposed, but it brings the point across. And another one that is similar to what he says we're supposed to see, but we don't see. Sun is very high on the horizon, and there's yet no reflection on the ocean because it's very choppy, but yet you see the reflection on the sand that has that shape that allows you to see the reflection. And I believe this is getting close to the end, but I will still stop it here anyways. The sun is getting cut off by the horizon, and you see this sun reflection going all the way down to the shore and even reflected on the sand. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry this was a little long and boring, but it was easy enough to just go back to the Hangout, copy it, and chop it up. And since I promised I was gonna do it, here it is. See you guys in the next one. Thanks.